The 1967 S Mint Mark I dime is one of the most fascinating coins in American numismatic history, not only because of its date, but also due to the unusual circumstances surrounding its minting and release, which makes it stand out among other Roosevelt dimes. To understand its significance, it is important to recall that during the mid-1960s, the U.S. Mint faced a severe nationwide coin shortage, and as a response, they made drastic changes to coinage production. In 1965, mint marks were completely removed from coins to discourage hoarding by collectors, and silver was also phased out from circulating dimes and quarters in favor of a copper-nickel-clad composition. By 1967, the mint was still recovering from this transition, and that year's coinage officially had no mint marks for regular circulation issues. However, special mint sets, SMS, were produced in San Francisco, and although they bore no mint mark, collectors and experts often associate these special strike coins with the San Francisco Mint, and in some extremely rare cases, experimental. Or pattern strikes attributed to San Francisco with an S mark are reported. This is why the idea of a 1967 S Mint Mark dime is so intriguing, because if such a coin exists, it would represent a numismatic anomaly and an ultra-rare collectible that was never intended for public release, falling into the same category as off-metal strikes, mint errors, or trial patterns. The standard 1967 Roosevelt dime is composed of a copper core clad in cupra nickel, weighing 2.27 grams, with a diameter of 17.9 millimeters and a reeded edge. Its obverse features the portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinnock, while the reverse depicts a torch, olive branch, and oak branch, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. What makes the alleged 1967 S dime different is not the design, but its mint attribution and the story that surrounds it. Collectors often wonder why such a coin could exist when official mint policy dictated no mint marks during this period. Historical. Research shows that in 1967, San Francisco's coinage department was largely responsible for producing special mint sets, and some experimental pieces, trial strikes, or even errors could have found their way out with an S mark. If genuine, this would make the coin one of the rarest Roosevelt dime varieties, similar in prestige to other error or pattern coins like the 1964 SMS dime or the 1975 No S proof dime, both of which are considered incredibly valuable. This is why the 1967 S dime, if confirmed, commands so much attention in auctions and collector discussions. Its rarity cannot be overstated. When a coin is minted during a period when mint marks were not supposed to exist, its survival is nothing short of extraordinary, and collectors naturally view it as a hidden treasure within the Roosevelt dime series. Another factor that increases its desirability is the historical significance tied to America's transition away from silver coinage. The 1965-1967 period marked the end of an era, and coins from these years hold added historical weight because they represent the struggles of the mint to modernize coinage under extreme pressure from hoarding, rising silver prices, and public distrust. The possibility of a 1967 S dime being produced adds an exciting layer of mystery and intrigue to this transitional era, making it much more than just a simple coin. It becomes a story of change, experimentation, and numismatic discovery. When evaluating the market value of such a coin, condition plays a massive role. Like other Roosevelt dimes, grading is handled by services like PCGS and NGC, which examine strike quality, luster, surface preservation, and originality. A circulated example, if it were to exist, would already be worth hundreds of dollars. But in uncirculated or special mint set condition, the value skyrockets due to rarity. Currently, numismatic estimates suggest that a 1967 S dime in high grade could fetch $500 or more, especially if authenticated and attributed properly by major grading companies. This $500 valuation is not just arbitrary. It reflects the scarcity of the coin. the demand from Roosevelt dime specialists, and the historical importance tied to its production. In comparison, normal 1967 dimes from circulation are worth only face value unless in pristine condition, but this S-marked variety jumps by hundreds of dollars instantly, proving how critical rarity and uniqueness are in coin collecting. Market demand for rare Roosevelt dime varieties has been steadily rising, as more collectors begin to specialize in post-1960s coinage, a field once overlooked in favor of earlier silver issues. The discovery and sale of rare varieties like the 1970 S small date, 1975, no S proof, or 1982. No P dimes show a consistent trend. Collectors will pay high premiums for anomalies, and the 1967 S dime fits perfectly within this category. Beyond just rarity and grading, the coin also has investment potential. In today's coin market, collectors and investors alike look for coins that combine scarcity, historical context, and verifiable authenticity. A 1967 S dime meets all three criteria, making it not only a desirable piece for hobbyists, but also a potential long-term asset for investors in numismatics. With its value already reaching $500, the coin has room to appreciate further as awareness of its existence spreads and competition among collectors grows. Auction houses such as Heritage and Stack's Bowers have proven repeatedly that rare mint-mark anomalies generate fierce bidding wars, sometimes pushing prices far beyond initial estimates. This means that today's $500 1967 S dime could easily become a $1,000 or more coin in the future, depending on market conditions and the number of specimens confirmed. Collectors are encouraged to examine their 1967 special mint set dimes carefully, as there remains the possibility that some overlooked coins could carry anomalies, and authentication by PCGS or NGC would be essential in establishing true market value. In conclusion, the 1967 S Mint Mark I dime represents a rare and captivating piece of U.S. numismatic history. While standard 1967 Roosevelt dimes are common and worth little more than face value, this unique S-marked anomaly stands apart as a coin that defies official minting policies of its time, making it incredibly scarce and historically significant. Its copper-nickel-clad composition, its design by John R. Sinnock, and its connection to the transitional era of American coinage add depth to its story, while its potential minting at the San Francisco facility creates intrigue and mystery for collectors. With an estimated market value of $500 today, the coin exemplifies how rarity, history, and collector demand can transform a small piece of change into a prized possession. For those fortunate enough to own one, the 1967 S dime is more than just a coin. It is a tangible piece of numismatic lore, a symbol of the mint's experimentation during a turbulent period, and a treasure that continues to spark fascination among collectors worldwide. Next up, the 1966 S Mint Mark I dime is one of those fascinating coins that attract serious attention from collectors because of its unusual background and the historical circumstances under which it was produced. To understand why this dime has earned such recognition and why it can reach a market value of around $700 today, it's essential to explore the year in which it was minted, the broader monetary history of the United States during the mid-1960s, and the rare minting practices that make this piece unique. The year 1966 was a transitional period in U.S. coinage because it was just after the removal of silver from circulating dimes, quarters, and half dollars. Prior to 1965, dimes were struck in 90% silver, but beginning that year, the U.S. Mint shifted to a copper-nickel-clad composition due to rising silver prices and increasing demand for coinage. This major change caused confusion among the public, resistance from traditionalists who preferred silver, and a pressing need for the mint to adjust its production methods quickly. Against this backdrop, the 1966 S Mint Mark dime was produced, but unlike regular circulation dimes of that era, it holds a different story that separates it from common issues. Normally, coins with an S mint mark are struck at the San Francisco Mint, but during the mid-1960s, the U.S. Mint temporarily removed mint marks from all coins to discourage hoarding. Collectors had been pulling coins with specific mint marks out of circulation in hopes they would rise in value, and this practice contributed to the coin shortage crisis of the early 1960s. As a result, from 1965 through 1967, coins were issued without mint marks, regardless of the minting facility. That is precisely why the existence of a 1966 dime with an S mint mark is so unusual. It goes against the official policy of the mint during that time. The San Francisco Mint was still operational, but its production was largely focused on proof, coinage, and special strikes, not standard circulating coins. Because of this, any discovery of a 1966 dime bearing an S is immediately recognized as highly rare, either as a special strike, an experimental piece, or a coin that somehow slipped into circulation when it should not have. The rarity of this coin cannot be overstated. Most dimes from 1966 are plentiful and worth little more than face value in circulated condition because billions were minted without a mint mark. However, the 1966 S mint mark dime stands apart as one of the few anomalies of the era, representing a numismatic treasure that reflects both a minting policy change and the unpredictability of coin production. Collectors are always drawn to coins that deviate from the norm, and the presence of an S mint mark on a 1966 dime provides just that allure. Rarity, combined with historical importance, often dictates market value in numismatics, and this dime is a textbook example of how unusual circumstances can elevate the worth of a coin that would otherwise be common. Another factor that boosts the desirability of the 1966 S dime is its connection to proof and special mint sets. During the years 1965-1967, the U.S. Mint did not produce traditional proof sets, but instead released what were called special mint sets, SMS. These sets were intended to satisfy collector demand while avoiding the hoarding issues caused by regular proof and circulation coins with mint marks. Most of the coins in these sets were struck in Philadelphia and bore no mint marks, but the San Francisco Mint was also involved in producing SMS coins. In some extremely rare cases, experimental strikes or transitional pieces may have carried the S mint mark, creating today's coveted 1966 S dimes. These SMS dimes often display sharper details, smoother surfaces, and a more proof-like appearance than regular strikes, which further distinguishes them in the eyes of collectors. The market value of the 1966 S dime, which can reach up to $700, depending on condition and demand, reflects both its rarity and the strong interest it generates among specialized collectors. In lower grades, or if slightly worn, its value will be less, but in high-grade examples, especially those certified by major grading services like PCGS or NGC, it can achieve premium prices. Collectors seeking to complete a set of Roosevelt dimes, or those who focus on transitional-era U.S. coins, often compete aggressively for such examples at auctions, which drives up the value. Moreover, coins with unusual minting stories often have a stronger emotional appeal, as collectors view them not merely as pieces of metal, but as artifacts of U.S. monetary history, representing a particular moment in time when the mint experimented and adjusted to economic realities. When studying the coin in greater detail, its design is also worth noting, though that is not what makes it valuable. The obverse features the familiar portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinek, while the reverse shows a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch. These elements symbolize liberty, peace, and strength, values deeply ingrained in the American identity. While this design was standard and did not change in 1966, the addition of an S mint mark beneath Roosevelt's neck instantly transforms this otherwise ordinary dime into a rare collectible. Thus, the value does not derive from the design itself, but from the unusual mint mark placement and the historical anomaly it represents. Another dimension of interest lies in the coin's role within the broader narrative of U.S. monetary history. The mid-1960s coinage reform was one of the most significant shifts in American coin production since the 19th century. Removing silver from circulation coins marked the end of an era and the beginning of modern-clad coinage. The 1966 dime embodies that transition, capturing the tension between tradition and modernization. For historians and numismatists alike, such a coin is not only valuable for its market price, but also as a teaching tool that illustrates the economic forces, public sentiment, and minting policies of its time. Its story reflects both scarcity and change, two powerful drivers of collector interest. Auction records and private sales also confirm the demand for this dime. While not as famous as rarities like the 1916 D Mercury dime or the 1894 S Barber dime, the 1966 S dime still holds its own as a prized anomaly. In recent years, examples in uncirculated or special strike condition have reached hundreds of dollars. At auction, and with increasing interest in modern U.S. coinage, its value may continue to grow. Collectors are becoming more aware of transitional and error coins from the 1960s, and as knowledge spreads, the competition for coins like the 1966 S dime only increases. This phenomenon highlights an important truth in numismatics. Rarity combined with a compelling backstory creates lasting value. To summarize, the 1966 S mint mark dime is a rare and historically significant coin that stands apart from the billions of ordinary 1966 dimes without mint marks. Its existence challenges the minting policy of its era, making it a valuable anomaly tied to the transitional period of U.S. coinage when silver was removed and mint marks were temporarily suppressed. With a market value that can reach $700 in the right condition, it demonstrates how rarity, historical context, and collector demand converge to create high worth in numismatics. For collectors, this coin is more than just a small piece of clad metal. It is a window into the economic, political, and minting realities of the 1960s, as well as a prized rarity that continues to capture the fascination of those who seek the unusual and the exceptional in U.S. coinage. Next up, the 1977 No Mint Mark I dime holds a special place in the world of numismatics and is a fascinating coin that has captured the attention of both casual collectors and serious investors over the years. Not just because it represents an important part of American coinage history, but also because it stands as a hidden treasure that can still be found in circulation, making it a true symbol of how small details in minting can transform an ordinary coin into a highly valuable collectible worth thousands of dollars in today's market, with the finest known examples reaching values of around $1,400 depending on their grade and condition, which is remarkable considering its face value of just 10 cents. To appreciate why this coin carries such a high premium, one must first understand its background. The dime itself belongs to the long-running Roosevelt dime series, which was introduced in 1946 after the passing of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, a leader beloved for his service during World War II and for his efforts in establishing the March of Dimes, a campaign dedicated to fighting polio. This connection made the choice of Roosevelt's portrait a fitting tribute for the dime denomination, and his image has remained on the coin's obverse ever since. The 1977 dime was struck in large quantities by the U.S. Mint at Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, with mint marks normally appearing as small letters placed just above the date on the obverse. However, the no mint mark variety from 1977 is particularly scarce because of an error where certain coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint did not receive their intended mint mark, creating a rare variety that today stands as one of the most desirable finds for collectors of modern U.S. coinage. To most people, a missing mint mark might not seem significant, but in the coin collecting community it makes all the difference. As mint marks help identify where a coin was struck, and when an anomaly like this occurs, it immediately attracts attention for its rarity and uniqueness, since errors of this type happen only under unusual circumstances at the minting facility. The absence of the mint mark on a 1977 dime was caused when a die that was supposed to be stamped with the identifying mark was mistakenly put into use without the letter being punched, which resulted in a small batch of coins entering circulation. Without any mint mark at all, a mistake that went unnoticed until collectors began to discover these coins years later. Because so many dimes from 1977 were produced in general circulation, finding a genuine no mint mark example in excellent condition has become a challenge, which adds to the rarity factor that drives up its market value significantly, with uncirculated pieces, or those graded at the highest levels by professional grading companies like NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, or PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, commanding top dollar, sometimes reaching or exceeding $1,400 at auctions and private sales. When assessing such a coin, collectors pay close attention to several aspects of grading, including the coin's strike, luster, surface preservation, and overall eye appeal, since even small imperfections like scratches, wear, or discoloration can greatly reduce its value, while a coin preserved in mint state condition can bring a premium far higher than one found in a circulated state. The demand for the 1977 no mint mark dime remains consistently strong because error coins like this are considered scarce in the wider population of Roosevelt dimes, and with the growing popularity of modern coin collecting fueled by both nostalgia and investment interest, pieces like these have carved out a special niche in the numismatic market. Many collectors specifically build sets of Roosevelt dimes and often seek out these key varieties, such as the 1975 No S proof dime, the 1982 No P dime, and the 1977 No Mint Mark dime to complete their collections, which ensures a steady demand for these coins whenever they appear for sale. Another important factor is the historical significance, as coins like these represent more than just currency. They tell stories about how the minting process has evolved, how mistakes can create legends, and how something as small as a missing letter can transform an ordinary 10-cent coin into a treasure valued in the thousands. For new collectors, finding such a coin is often a dream come true, as it proves that valuable treasures can still be hidden in everyday pocket change, while for seasoned numismatists, owning a certified example offers both prestige and the potential for long-term financial appreciation. Market trends show that coins with unique errors or varieties tend to increase in value over time, especially when they are recognized and listed in major reference guides like the Red Book and other numismatic catalogs, because such recognition adds legitimacy and ensures that the rarity is acknowledged by the wider collecting community. As with all rare coins, provenance and authenticity are critical, which is why having the coin graded and encapsulated by a reputable grading service not only protects it physically, but also certifies its authenticity, giving buyers confidence in what they are purchasing, and this assurance often results in stronger prices at auction. In terms of composition, the 1977 dime, like all Roosevelt dimes produced since 1965, was made of a copper nickel clad with an inner core of pure copper, weighing 2.27 grams with a diameter of 17.9 millimeters and featuring a reeded edge, with the obverse design showing President Roosevelt facing left, the word Liberty along the left side, the motto In God We Trust beneath his chin, and the date 1977 to the right. On normal coins, the mint mark would appear just above the date, but of course on the no mint mark error variety, this identifying letter is completely missing, making it instantly noticeable to trained eyes. The reverse design, unchanged since the series began, features a torch in the center symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch on the left representing peace, and an oak branch on the right symbolizing strength and independence, with the inscriptions United States of America and one dime along the rims, and the national motto E pluribus unum positioned across the central design elements, all of which combine to give the dime its iconic and instantly recognizable appearance. Despite being a small denomination, the dime has long played an essential role in American commerce and culture, and error varieties like the 1977 no-mint mark only add to the legacy of this humble coin, reminding us that history, art, and value can all come together in something as simple as a piece of change. Collectors who are fortunate enough to own one of these coins understand its significance and often hold on to it as both a collectible and an investment, as values have steadily risen over the years and show no signs of slowing down. Particularly, as more people enter the hobby of coin collecting through online platforms, social media communities, and dedicated numismatic marketplaces. In conclusion, the 1977 No Mint Mark I dime stands as a rare gem in the world of American coinage, valued today at around $1,400 for high-grade examples, a coin that teaches us about the importance of minting details, the role of grading in determining value, and the enduring demand among collectors for pieces that combine rarity, history, and beauty, making it a must-have for any serious Roosevelt dime enthusiast, and a shining example of how even a small coin can carry a story, and value far greater than its size suggests. Next up, the 1969 D-Mint Mark I dime is an extraordinary piece in the long-running Roosevelt dime series, and while on the surface it might appear to be just another small coin in circulation, to serious collectors and investors, it represents a fascinating blend of history, rarity, and value that has transformed this 10-cent piece into a collectible worth as much as $2,400 in today's numismatic market when preserved in high grades. And to understand why such a modest coin can command such a premium, one has to explore its background, design, minting details, and the strong collector demand that continues to drive its value higher. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had passed away the previous year, and was remembered not only for his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, but also for his connection to the March of Dimes campaign to fight polio, a disease he had personally battled. Thus, the dime became a fitting tribute to his memory, with his left-facing portrait appearing on the obverse ever since, while the reverse of the coin has always displayed the symbolic torch of liberty, flanked by an olive branch representing peace and an oak branch symbolizing strength and independence, along with the inscriptions United States of America, a pluribus unum, and one dime, creating a timeless and dignified design by John R. Sinek that remains in use today. By 1969, the composition of the dime had already shifted from silver to clad copper-nickel, a change that occurred in 1965 due to rising silver prices that made it unsustainable for the U.S. Mint to continue striking circulation dimes in 90% silver. So, the 1969 D dime was struck in a clad composition consisting of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core, weighing 2.27 grams with a diameter of 17.9 millimeters and a reeded edge, the same specifications, still used in modern dimes. The D Mint mark signifies that this dime was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the primary facilities of the United States Mint. And while Denver struck millions of dimes that year, the survival rate of pristine, uncirculated examples has proven to be surprisingly low, which is one of the reasons why gem-quality 1969 D dimes have become highly desirable in numismatic circles, with prices reaching up to $2,400 for superb examples that have been graded at the highest levels by professional coin grading companies, such as PCGS and NGC. The market value of this coin is determined by several critical factors, including rarity, collector demand, and especially condition, as the grading scale plays a huge role in differentiating between a common dime worth, face value, and a gem specimen worth thousands. For example, a circulated 1969 D dime may only be worth a few cents, But if the coin is in mint state condition, with sharp details, full luster, and virtually no contact marks, its value climbs exponentially, which is why collectors send such coins to professional graders who assign numeric grades on the Sheldon scale ranging from MS-60 for basic uncirculated coins up to MS-70 for theoretically perfect coins. The appeal of the 1969 D dime also lies in the fact that while millions were struck, finding one in top condition has proven to be quite difficult, because most were released into circulation and suffered wear, scratches, and nicks from handling and daily use, leaving only a small fraction of coins in pristine states that can qualify as high-grade collectibles. And this scarcity is what drives demand and pushes auction prices into the thousands. Collectors also appreciate the historical significance of coins like this, as they represent the early years of the clad coinage era, a transitional period in U.S. numismatic history when the nation moved away from silver in circulation. And, for many enthusiasts, owning coins from this era is like holding a piece of the story about America's economic shifts and the evolution of its coinage. Beyond rarity and condition, there is also the element of collector demand, as Roosevelt dimes remain a very popular series with a wide following, from beginners who start by assembling year sets to advanced numismatists who pursue high-grade registry sets certified by PCGS or NGC, where collectors compete to assemble the finest possible collection of coins, often bidding aggressively for rare gems like the 1969 D in superb mint state, which explains why prices continue to climb whenever an exceptional specimen comes to market. In addition, errors and varieties are always of interest to collectors. And while the standard 1969 D dime is valuable in its own right at the highest grades, any examples with striking errors, such as off-center strikes, double dies, or other unusual anomalies can command even higher premiums, sometimes well above the $2,400 mark. Another important point for collectors is authentication, as having the coin encapsulated in a protective holder by a recognized grading company not only preserves its condition, but also verifies its authenticity, eliminating doubts and giving buyers confidence, which enhances its marketability and ensures that the coin realizes its full value at auction or private sale. The story of the 1969 D dime is also a reminder of how everyday pocket change can sometimes hide treasures, as it is entirely possible that such a coin could still appear in circulation today, overlooked by those who do not know its potential worth, which adds an element of excitement and adventure for collectors who search through rolls of coins from banks or examine their change closely, hoping to find a valuable gem. This element of discovery is what keeps the hobby of coin collecting alive and thriving, as coins like the 1969 D dime demonstrate that not all treasures are locked away in museums. Some are still out there waiting to be found. And when they are, they can change the life of the person who discovers them. The numismatic market has shown that coins from the late 1960s in mint condition have become increasingly sought after, partly because they are now over 50 years old, and partly because of the low survival rate of high-grade examples, which means that as time passes, fewer and fewer of these coins will remain available, pushing values even higher in the long term. For collectors, adding a 1969 D dime to their collection is not just about owning a piece of currency, but about owning a story, a slice of history that connects to America's past and represents the artistry and technical skill of the mint, as well as the unpredictable nature of how coins survive and become rare. With its modest face value, iconic design, historic significance, and a market value reaching up to $2,400 in top condition, the 1969 D Mint Mark I dime serves as a shining example of why coin collecting is more than just a hobby. It is a pursuit of knowledge, a preservation of history, and in many cases, a rewarding financial investment, making this particular dime one of the standout treasures of the Roosevelt series and a coin that continues to inspire collectors to keep searching their change in the hopes of uncovering something truly remarkable. Next up, The 1972 Mint Mark I dime holds a special position in the world of numismatics, standing out as more than just an ordinary coin from the early 1970s. While billions of Roosevelt dimes were struck during this decade, the 1972 dime has managed to capture collector interest due to its association with the San Francisco Mint, its role in proof coinage, and the overall rarity of high-quality examples. To understand why this particular coin can achieve a market value as high as $900 today, we must explore its historical background, minting process, collector demand, and the broader story of U.S. coinage in the modern era. By digging deeper into these details, one begins to see how such a small coin can hold such great financial and historical value. The Roosevelt dime itself was first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who passed away in 1945 after leading the nation through the Great Depression and World War II. Designed by John R. Sinek, the dime's obverse bears Roosevelt's profile, while the reverse features a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, representing liberty, peace, and strength. For decades, this design remained unchanged, and it continues to circulate today. By the 1970s, the design was so familiar that many Americans barely noticed the dime they spent daily, but for collectors, the mint mark and year of issue began to take on special meaning as certain combinations proved scarcer and more valuable. The 1972 dime is one such case, and its origin lies in the unique role of the San Francisco Mint during this period. Unlike Philadelphia and Denver, which primarily struck coins for everyday circulation, the San Francisco Mint in the 1970s was heavily focused on producing proof coins for collectors. A proof coin differs from a standard circulation strike in that it is made with specially prepared dies and struck multiple times to bring out sharp details, mirror-like fields, and frosted devices. Because of this special production process, proof coins were never intended for circulation, but rather for inclusion in collector proof sets. The 1972 dime, therefore, belongs to this category. It was part of the official U.S. Mint proof set released to collectors that year. Each set contained 5 coins, cent, nickel, dime, quarter, and half dollar, struck in proof condition, all bearing the Mint mark of San Francisco. While proof sets were not rare in themselves, the challenge lies in the survival of pristine, high-grade examples of individual coins, especially those graded at the highest levels by professional services such as PCGS and NGC. In lower grades, the 1972 dime is not particularly valuable because thousands of proof sets from this year still exist. However, the market value climbs steeply when the coin is found in perfect or near-perfect condition. The finest known examples, often graded PR69 Deep Cameo or PR70 by certification agencies, can reach values of $900 or more. This level of demand comes from the fact that proof coins are judged heavily on their appearance, with collectors seeking coins that exhibit strong cameo contrast between frosted devices and mirror-like fields, free from scratches, haze, or spotting. Achieving such perfection in a nearly 50-year-old proof dime is not easy, as many sets have been mishandled, improperly stored, or subjected to environmental damage over the decades. Thus, only a small number of 1972 dimes remain in flawless condition today, giving them exceptional rarity in the top grades. Another reason the 1972 dime carries significant value is its role within the timeline of U.S. coinage. By this time, silver had been absent from circulating dimes for several years, as the Coinage Act of 1965 had permanently changed their composition to copper-nickel clad. Proof dimes struck at San Francisco were also made of this clad composition, but their higher production quality gave them a different appeal. The proof dimes of the 1970s represent a continuation of modern numismatic artistry, a bridge between the silver proof coins of earlier decades and the modern proof coins of today that collectors still eagerly seek. For many, The 1972 S-dime is not just a small piece of metal, but part of a larger narrative that illustrates the ongoing evolution of U.S. minting practices during the late 20th century. The $900 market value attached to this coin also reflects broader trends in numismatics. Collectors have become increasingly focused on registry sets, which are competitive collections graded and certified by companies like PCGS and NGC. In these competitions, collectors strive to assemble the highest graded examples of every coin in a particular series. Because the 1972 S-dime is a required coin for a complete Roosevelt dime-proof set, collectors competing in registry challenges are willing to pay significant premiums for the finest examples available. This competitive demand drives the price higher than what one might expect for such a common-seeming coin, proving once again that condition and rarity within a grade can matter more than mintage figures alone. Historically speaking, the San Francisco Mint itself adds another layer of significance to the 1972 S-dime. The San Francisco facility has long been associated with producing proof coinage and special collector issues, and coins bearing its S mint mark often have a prestige attached to them. During the 1970s, while Philadelphia and Denver produced billions of clad dimes for circulation, San Francisco's output was smaller, more specialized, and aimed directly at collectors. The S mint mark is therefore more than just a letter. It is a symbol of the proof coin tradition, quality craftsmanship, and a targeted focus on numismatics rather than mass circulation. For many collectors, this heritage elevates the desirability of coins like the 1972 S-dime, which embody the high standards of proof production. Another important aspect to consider is how market conditions and collector psychology affect coins like the 1972 S-dime. Proof coins often get overlooked by casual collectors, who may assume that modern proof coins are too common to have value. Yet, as grading technology improves and collector interest sharpens, the very best survivors suddenly become highly coveted. This shift has happened with many modern proof issues, and the 1972 S-dime is no exception. Coins that once sold for only modest premiums in the 1970s and 1980s now achieve hundreds of dollars because collectors have come to appreciate their scarcity in pristine grades. This transformation in value highlights an important lesson in numismatics. What may seem ordinary today can become extraordinary tomorrow, given enough time, careful preservation, and growing collector interest. The appeal of the 1972 S-dime also extends beyond U.S. borders, as proof coins from the United States are collected worldwide. The Roosevelt dime series, in particular, has international recognition because it represents the enduring legacy of Franklin D. Roosevelt, a figure of global significance due to his leadership during World War II. Collectors from different countries who admire American history and coinage often add proof dimes to their collections, and this international demand further strengthens the coin's market presence. When combined with the rarity of high-grade pieces, this worldwide interest ensures that the 1972 S-dime remains a valuable numismatic asset. Auction results confirm this trend. Examples of the 1972 S-dime in PR70 Deep Cameo have sold for hundreds of dollars, sometimes reaching close to $900 depending on the auction house, demand at the time, and the coin's specific qualities. While not every 1972 S-dime will bring this price, since the majority exist in lower conditions, the fact that such prices have been achieved demonstrates the high-end potential of this coin. Collectors often monitor auction records closely, and each strong sale reinforces the reputation of the coin as a valuable and desirable collectible. In conclusion, the 1972 S Mint Mark I dime is far more than just another coin in the Roosevelt dime series. Its association with the San Francisco Mint, its proof status, its rarity in high grades, and its role in the broader narrative of U.S. coinage all combine to make it a highly collectible piece. With a market value that can climb to $900 in top, Condition: this dime embodies the perfect blend of rarity, quality, and historical significance that drives collector demand. For those who hold one in pristine condition, it is a small but powerful reminder that numismatics is about more than face value. It is about the stories, the history, and the passion that transform ordinary coins into extraordinary treasures.